And we're live. Let me do some tweeting. All right, chill stream today, everybody. Just gonna be.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you so much for coming to the live stream today. Please like this video and join us on Discord. Yeah.
Gonna be working on MZMMO. Last night, I got the account verification and registration and login system set up, which is really cool, in my opinion. I think it's really good. Is it just me? Oh, okay. It looks like every time I see this slime TB round emoji, that someone's posting a slime flipping the bird. Just like, that's what it looks like to me. When you zoom in a lot, it looks like a thumbs up. But look at his face. It's like an angry thumbs up. He's like, good job. Good job. And so if you zoom out a lot, it looks like he's angry face just flipping the bird. Whoever made this one, I question their intentions. If it was to provide confusion, you've done a good job. All right, that's tweeted out. Who's in the chat room here? Vino's here. What's up, Snowmans? What's up, DVD? Sir Legna, how are you doing? KB Kingdom. Zeriab is here. How are you? How are you? Has anyone heard about the new restaurant called Karma? There's no menu. You just get what you deserve. That's good, Vino. I like that one. The network would get SARS and die. Yeah, basically, here's what I'm doing, Zeriab. I don't know if you're here, Zeriab. Oh yeah, there, I see you are. I'm gonna just basically write a key, okay? And I'm gonna like make a key of what the data is supposed to send, and I'm gonna try to send it in that exact order. Or better yet, I don't know. See, I was trying to think about it last night. I was trying to figure it out last night, and I was in the process of I should just show it. Let me show it off real quick. See where we're at. All right, we got the server. Let's run the server. And I've set up repositories at GitHub so that I can have different version control on it in case something goes really, really wrong. I can go back to a version if I really want to. I'm making periodic backups. Inevitably, this is going to fail, I know, and we're going to hit a wall and be like, well, I guess it's going to be easily hacked, or it's going to be easily broken, or it just doesn't run, or can't be deployed, or the Enigma box is stopping something from happening, or blah, 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 blah. Something, right? But until then, I'm going to keep working on it. I think it's coming along nicely. All right, when we start it up, we get a ping from the client to the server. Let's look at the server too. And the server will pong it back. So it got pinged, and then it sends a pong right back to the client to say, hey, we've connected and we've also got this number. We've got this number set up. And I've removed all local saving and loading. So especially because I'm going to Enigma box and also not include the save folder. So even if you try to make a save folder, it won't actually, like you can't, right? Because it's Enigma boxed. And if you try to save it, it won't even save if you somehow try to force a save, because inside of Enigma box, you won't have the permissions to create a folder for the save game to work. I'm going to see if that'll work. And anyway, so there's no like start or load. It's just connect. So we're going to connect. And I'm going to change this up so it's not just this. I don't know why it's at the top. For some reason, it doesn't put it like in the middle. Maybe, I don't know why. Like after I like if I try to log in and fail to log in, it'll put it back in the middle. But I don't know why it starts at the top here. So anyway, let's try to log in, and let's just say we're going to try to log in with an account and password that doesn't exist. It's going to send something to the server, and the server is going to ask, does this exist on the MySQL server, which is running right here? Oops, that's the database that I'm putting in here. But then the MySQL server is running, and the Socket.io server is running and communicating with the database. And so that's happening. What's up, Psycho? How are you doing? What's up, Waffles? I feel like the music's a little loud. Is the music loud? Let's bring it down a little bit. There we go. That's probably a little more chiseled. Anyway. What you up to, Waffles? Are you finally getting that computer connected? Is it finally working for you? You told me you got it working, and then you realized the motherboard doesn't have Wi-Fi on it. Damn. You must have hit like every snag along the way. So T's decided that she wanted to help with this project. She's been helping with this project, and she wanted to take like the art lead. So I said, yeah, sure, just go ahead. I'm not going to lock the project down so that I can still have creative control over it. But at the same time, T's making the artwork for the MZ MMO. If it doesn't just completely fail, you know, which I expect to be, so no pressure over there.
Well, I plan on using DLCs, not actually making the artwork.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. I think the FSM...
I was playing around with Hadel's Cyclone map editor yesterday, and that's pretty cool.
I think Cyclone's really cool, but you have to like go balls to the wall with it or don't even touch it, right? You've got to get the entire suite or you just leave it alone, in my opinion.
I guess it depends on what you're looking for. Like there's some really cool tools that are like paid, totally worth it.
For the Cyclone?
Yeah, like the blending and more tile sets, which is just an amazing feature. And
so you have to pay for those.
Yeah, but they're very, very cheap, and they're totally worth it.
Yeah, I'm just sounding like, what's the price on...
$3.
Oh, that's hella cheap.
Yeah, it's not much
what's
at all.
the whole suite? Like, because I know a lot of them are free.
For the whole thing, it would be $9.
That is super cheap and affordable.
It's very, very cheap.
Very worth it. Yeah, the one of the bigger things I like about Hadel's Cyclone plugin suite is you get the ability to add multiple tile sets to a single map.
Yeah, and then you see the changes on the map. So like I was a huge fan of doodads back in MV, and I went over to Tile D toward the end, but with the doodads the big drawback was that you couldn't see it on the map when you were playtesting.
Right.
But with Hadel's map editor you can see, like when you're playtesting it looks the way it's supposed to, and it looks that way on the editor as well, so when you're placing events it's all there.
You know, I saw a tweet from Echo when I was tweeting out something, and she was saying something about how it's what Hadel's Cyclone thing does. Like after you make a change, it brings a pop-up that says, you must refresh, something has changed, do you want to refresh? And luckily that exists, because if it didn't, you'd have to close the project and open it.
Right.
But she was complaining about it, and she's like, come on, fix this, it's only been 1 year. But that's a feature.
Yeah, no,
that's a
good
feature.
Yeah,
because without that feature, you would have to close the project and open it again every time you make a modification for Cyclone.
Right. And don't quote me on it, but I think Cyclone's also compatible with Doodads.
Yeah, I believe they were working together on to make that
Yeah.
happen. Hadel's on Team Vigistella, if you didn't know.
Yeah, so I think it'll work with Doodads, and therefore you could have the best of both worlds that way. But the really cool thing is if you wanted to use Tile D, you could also use Hadel's Cyclone map editor as well, because instead of using a Tile D plugin in MZ, you can use his parallax features and just when you use Tile D to build your map, build it in 3 layers, and then use Hadel's layer features or parallax features to use the map.
Right. One of the biggest things the biggest drawbacks that I've found for, I mean, first of all, I loved the Doodads plugin. I think it was an amazing, like, it blew other plugins out of the water with its functionality and what it could actually do, and it was groundbreaking. It was it is a fantastic plugin for both MV and MZ. But one of the things I really found unsatisfying, I guess, was you couldn't see in the engine the changes of your. I found that so off-putting.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be able to remember what this map looked like and what that map looked like, and without like making images and parallaxing those images in the editor or something, or you know, it was hard to keep track of where events were. It was hard, and you know, you
It made
could
it
do
hard to make collision.
Absolutely,
for the
you
things
could
that
set
you put
up
on
you
there.
could set up regions, and that would help you. But quite often you would have things that were not like. Because it gave you this functionality of being able to draw off of the grid. Sometimes you would have the cave entrance that wasn't quite on the grid.
Right.
So to make your transfer events, you'd have to shift stuff over. And that became kind of hard to do when you couldn't see everything. And so one thing I like to, going back full circle about Hadel's Cyclone, you can easily see where that stuff's at.
Yep. And also another thing that along the same lines is that you can you could change. You have a grid of 48 by 48, which by the way you could change your grid size with this plugin as well. But say you're using a grid of 48 by 48, you can divide that grid by 4 and use that for your character's step count within a 48 by 48 grid and the collision. So if you do set something a little bit outside the grid parameters, or like if it's a little bit offset, you can actually make collision that's accurate to where the thing is.
Where the P's at.
Yeah,
Right.
where the P's at. Because it's not a big giant 48 by 48 block. Instead, it's what's 48 divided by 4? 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 16 by 16 block instead.
That's divided by 3.
No. Okay. So
Yeah.
further, even smaller.
16 plus 16 plus 16 is
So
48. No, that would be divided by
No.
6.
Well, damn it. What's 48 divided
12.
by 4? 12. There we
Yeah.
go. It's 12 by 12.
12 by 12 in the pocket. So
I've never pretended that I'm good at math, guys.
this enter username, I know it's a beautiful tileset. Thank you, T. She made something so that you can see enter username at my request. So at this point, I'm hijacking the game actors. Let me go back to see the chat here. I'm hijacking the game actors to store the player's username and the player's password, and that's going to help me. This is a trick that I've learned from Vino. Vino does this in a lot of his games. He hijacks the actors for places to store data, and the game does a good job of creating a lot of space for actors, and so we're just using actors to store data. And in this case, for a username, I'm using actor 9, and you're going to enter a username. So let's create an account. This is going to be called, oh wait, not over here, over here. I'm going to create an account. We're going to call it Driftwood. And I want to show you first in the database. I need to commit these changes. Hopefully I haven't done anything really stupid. I was very distracted. Invalid default value for switch 1. Okay, let's go to switch 1. Where am I at? Oh yeah. Can't be null. Apply these changes. I don't understand why is it doing this. Can I just do 0s and 1s? Because when I go to change this data, it'll be so much better. Let's just start all the switches at 0, all of the variables at 0. I've decided to, since I'm not allowing local saving, everything is going to be on the database. We're going to not null. I'm going to do this in sections of 20. So I'm going to say I only need 20 switches for now. Set them up in the server. I'm going to use 40 variables for now. Set them up in the server. Default zeros, not null. Then apply these changes. Hopefully. I've had a lot of issues with MySQL that I did not have with SQLite 3. So if you're making something that's kind of going to be really light and you just want to dip your toes into SQL, I recommend using my SQLite 3. Or even easy, what is it? SQLite 3 Lite. There's a lot of options that make it easier than the actual full MySQL server. It has a lot more, it wants the data in a specific way, and you can't have things unique. You can't have unique blobs. You can't have, there's lots of restrictions, and you can't use varchar unless it's defined in a specific way. Duplicate column. What did I do wrong here? Okay, let me refresh the object because I may have. Yeah, reload. Why did switch 1 decide it just wasn't going to be added? Oh, it decides it wants to add it at the bottom with a tiny int. Instead, see what I'm saying? Look at this. MySQL just changed all my booleans to tiny ints on its own without it. It gave me an error saying it wasn't going to change. It didn't do the thing. But instead, it did do the thing. I mean, this is part of DB Forge Studio being what it is. I don't need it to be tiny int 1. It should only be able to be 1 and 0. Will it be able to work this way? Yeah, probably it'll work. But is it wrong? Yeah, it's actually wrong. So I think what I have to do is make these booleans like I originally did. I did that boolean, but instead of writing 0, I'm going to have to write false. I'm literally going to have to write false because I want it to be correct. And one of the biggest and most frustrating parts of doing something like what I'm doing is getting the data in the right format. There's our Lily. Hi, baby. And I was trying to make it nice and clean. I was trying to make it really clean so that you wouldn't have sections where they would be falling off and like being placed over here for whatever freaking reason. It's so frustrating to me that that happens in the first place. So Boolean, default value false. And let's go in here, all the Booleans, false. Let me just copy. Paste, 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 paste. All right, let me apply these changes. Invalid switch for 2. Really? Invalid default value for switch 2. If switch 2 is a Boolean and it's set to false, how is false an invalid value for a Boolean? Refresh it. Yeah, please refresh it. Do you freaking see what's happening? I switched all of these to Boolean, and then I changed all of the defaults to false, and it was like, sorry, these Booleans can't be false. Change them back to tiny int. What the hell, man? I don't even anymore. I'm just going to read the chat and try to figure out what the and why, right? I can't even make a single... Every step I make is 2 steps backwards.
Could you use zeros and ones?
Yeah, and that's what I did at first. I set them to Booleans and set them to zeros. And then they're like, these zeros are actually tiny ints, not Booleans. And then I'm like, no, make them Booleans, but set them to false. False is invalid.
Could they be zeros on tiny int?
Yeah, they can, but that's what I'm saying. Now I'm presenting the data differently. I'm presenting a Boolean and storing it as a tiny int.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to work? Maybe. Like I said, maybe. But is it wrong? Yeah. It's not actually right. Flash 15X, you know, there's people, you can pay people to listen to you, actually. If you need that bad, there are outlets. I would just run a Ethernet cable, Waffles. Just run it along the wall. Get a good Cat 6 cable. Run it from the router to your computer. You don't know which one to get, so you're going to buy them all? You don't actually need an integrated Wi-Fi card. I mean, you probably have a PCI slot that you could use, and that would work fine. And that would look the best. That would be the slickest because you don't have to run any cables. You don't have anything coming out of your USB slot. But if you have a free USB slot, the cheapest and fastest would be a USB Wi-Fi adapter, like get a Netgear. And then just plug that in and install the drivers. You'll have to install the drivers to get it to work. I've had a lot of issues with that sort of thing.
They're so fragile.
Yep.
It'll break within a year.
Well, I've had some of them work for a long time, but
Yeah.
the thing about them is getting them to stay working. Like you'll shake your computer and then ba-dong, you've been disconnected, and you're like, what the hell? That's why I just go with Ethernet. Just run a cable, and as long as the cable doesn't get yanked on, or like dogs chewing on it, it's gonna work for a long, long time, and it won't disconnect as much as Wi-Fi. So my recommendation is to get a Cat 6 cable and plug it into your LAN, your LAN connector, local area network connector. What is this tool that T is talking about? Cyclone. It's the Cyclone plugin suite. I guess it's a suite of plugins from Hedel. Sir Legna says, your project makes me want to revive my Git RM game where everyone has to access the code to make their own levels or anything they want. Vino says he's been lucky enough to break a bone, only a dozen. To never break a bone, only a dozen sprains. Sprains are painful too. We're talking about Waffles got in a car accident. I hope you're healing up well and you're not in too much pain, Big Daddy Waffles. That sucks, man. I hate being in a car, period, because I know that stuff happens. You could be the best driver in the world and you can still get into a car accident and die.
Yeah, because there's other drivers on the road.
Yeah.
I let my daughter drive my car once for 10 minutes and she flipped it.
That's a true story. You would think that would be a meme or a joke, but that's a true story. It took me like 30 minutes to actually believe her when she called after the work.
He wouldn't believe me. It wasn't until I said, look, I'm standing in front of the car and looking at the muffler, the undercarriage, and he's like, wait, you're serious?
Yeah, and then I was like, oh my God, is everyone okay? You got the plumber there to fix some stuff to catch... Oh, man. I know all about that issue. Good luck, BG. Tiny Gallon Productions. Plumbing is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it is.
I hope you don't have any poly B lines. I hope you're using either copper or PEX. I like PEX. PEX is good. PEX lines are great. I like PEX better than copper, in my opinion. It's cheaper. It's more malleable. It's easier to get fittings on. I just like PEX better, but it's easier to insulate.
Yeah.
I think you duplicated a column.
If you guys get PEX, get the big crimpy thingy.
Get the tools.
It makes good connections.
Yeah, you got to get the tools to do it right.
You get these cheap little plastic, gosh, what do you call them? Right angle connectors, and then crimp them together, and they work really well.
Well, it doesn't let you duplicate, Sir Legna. It will go bong, error, and it doesn't let you do that.
Certainly like that. Less people steal your PEX pipes compared to copper. Yeah, but
That's
I don't
true.
think anybody's going to come and steal your PEX pipes.
Nah, it's
They're
not worth it.
super cheap.
They're about $1 a foot. They're not cheap, but the thing is, they're only expensive when you want to get them to use them. People aren't going to steal them to sell them.
Yeah.
They'd only steal them if they're really like broke, poor,
Hard up for some pipes.
and need plumbing of their own. They might steal, some of it, but it's usually not worth it. The thing about copper is it's like $2.50 a pound, so it's very expensive. I used to buy copper at a recycling center. You had bright and shiny, and then you had number 2 that had some kind of patina or, copper rust is a patina. Mm-hmm. You can't even do PEX without the tool. You can, Psycho, if you have shark bites. Mm-hmm. But shark bites have their own issues.
They don't always work quite right.
They don't always work right because the push to connect, you have to be able to really freaking put those things in there. Like, it takes some force to push to connect properly.
Yeah. And then if you have to remove it later, there's this removal tool.
Oh,
you guys
and
can't
it's
see it, but I'm doing quotes because...
it works, but holy shit, it's like so hard to get it to work right. You need to be like Andre the Giant to have the strength to do it, but then at the same time, you're often in a position where you can barely get a little hand in there. That's what she said. And it's like so difficult to get it to like pop out. Anyway, since these are tiny ints now, I might as well default value them to 0. The problem with this, now that I've set to tiny int, right, is we run the risk here of it not being able to sequelize properly. Sequelize may be like, tiny int doesn't exist. Not Waffles. I was just saying that, yeah, you should probably use a wired connection. Mm-hmm. Just use the Ethernet.
Way more
What's up,
reliable.
Polka Latte?
Faster,
more reliable connection. It's just better. Okay, apply changes, and then let me look at the data. See, is there any way I can move these around just for my own OCD? I would much love to be able to go here in columns and be like, can we move this? Can we just move this switch 1 up here? You can. Oh, I love it. Apply that. Yes, make change. Make big change now. Oh, that's good. Good job, DB Forge. So far, I've had a lot of complaints about this program. I'm still using the trial, as you can see here. I don't know if it's going to do everything that I'm needing it to do once the trial expires. I'm definitely not going to buy it. It's like $400 freaking dollars, but I will just download a different one because there are free ones out there. The reason why I went with this one is because it's got dark theme. And oh yes, I will definitely use dark theme, at least for 30 days. And if it stops working right, well, it's fine. The database will stay the same. This is just the viewer and the editor. The database is actually in here, the MySQL server, which is free. You can download this stuff for free. Most of the stuff that I'm doing, you can do it all for free if you just know what to do. The only thing that I'm using that would cost money is RPG Maker MZ right now, which is kind of the meat of it. It's really the main thing that I'm working around. Everything else is just tacked on to MZ. So did I say V? I meant Z, but they're both a paid program, obviously. I would much love to ... Drifty 2021. I don't know what I'm. Was that just that's incorrect, right? Yeah, okay. You know what I noticed about Discord and a lot of other websites actually? The spell check API must have been updated with the grammar thing because now when I'm typing on Discord, it's like it's saying that all of my words are spelled wrong, and I'm like, yo, I'm pretty sure that I spelled switch properly here, and it's because the grammar would be wrong in it. And so it's predicting, it's saying your grammar is wrong here. But I wish it would not highlight red and instead highlight like green or something, a different color, yellow, anything. Blue, it doesn't matter, just not red. Red should be specifically for spelling. And then another color highlight could be like your grammar's off. And then you can have multiple tiers of highlights. A red for when you're spelling something wrong in a sentence that's also using the improper grammar. So you can have a little red word highlighted, and then you can underneath that a green highlight for the whole sentence. Yada, 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 yada. Anyway, the switches are set up. Unfortunately, they're set to tiny ints. Now I have to figure out if I can sequelize that and if it'll work the same. Tiny int. Let's see. Can I use tiny int with a sequelize model? The important part of your schema being that you want to store those fields as tiny ints using only a byte of storage to contain values between 0 and 2 to 5 is sadly not available in the sequelized data types. You see what I'm saying? Did you see what I'm saying here? This is the stuff that you have to deal with. These refuse to be booleans. They refuse it. They say they have to be tiny ints. And then when you want to sequelize, you can't use tiny ints for something you want to be a boolean. Why? Why? So here's what I have to do. I'm going to make them ints. And I'm using bigger data. The database is bigger than it needs to be. A lot bigger than it needs to be because of incompatibilities between things. So I'm going to turn all of these tiny ints into ints when they could just be booleans. Oh, you know what? I tried boolean, but I didn't try bool. Let's try bool, which is short. They're synonymous. So they should just work the same. Can I just name them as bool? But at the same time, can I name them bool here and get away with in the sequelize model calling them bool instead of boolean? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is the sequelize model.
Waffles, yeah, you should be able to put it on a flash drive. You just have to. But you know what? You don't even need to do that. You can, if you're just looking to put your engine on your new computer, just go onto the website and click download free trial and activate it with your product code.
Sir Legna, wouldn't it be so easy if I could just use string instead of blob? Yes. And in fact, SQLite 3, you can. However, in MySQL, you can't use string. String is not a valid data type. Are you serious right now that you can't use that for sure? Yeah, you can't. There is no string data type. There's none. We'll go to G's, I's, J, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, right? RS, we have set, we have small int, and then that's it. The only S's you get are set and small int. There is no string in MySQL. And I was like, what the fuck? I had to rewrite all of the, it wasn't a big deal, but like took me a while to figure out that. And you can't just type string and make it work. I believe it's called text. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work with text. Because when you do text, it can't be unique. It can't be, no, you can't do that. It won't let you have restriction. It won't, it restricts you. It doesn't let you add the miscellaneous restrictions. Like you can't set text to be a unique value. Or I think you can set it to not null, but there are other restrictions, like you can't be a primary key. There's like so many stupid things about it that it becomes so frustrating to use. Char or varchar. So the same thing applies. When you try to define varchar or a char, you have to pass a parameter through that Zariab. You have to say it is a char or varchar with this many this many characters long. You have to pass that. However, in Sequelize, you can't sequelize the model that way, writing in any type of extra shit like that. At least I've never figured out a way to do it. Because when you try to do like data type varchar, if you do these little parentheses afterwards and try to say how many characters long is your varchar, it'll say varchar is not a function, and so it just does not work. It won't actually say that for, but that's what it's returning, and that's why it won't write data. It just doesn't write to the database. Oh yeah, we've been doing this for a while. We've been coming across all of these little stupid booby traps. I would rather not use a binary large object for all of these things that could just be text strings. But they require varchar inside of SQL. But varchar doesn't work because you can't specify how many characters long they are inside a SQLized model file. Sounds like good old fun. It's very, very good fun, chap. My young chaps. But anyway, all right. Let's try to find the best solution. Let's make everything multi-polygons. Just kidding. I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to try to make these bool, which is synonymous with Boolean, which I don't expect it to work because Booleans don't work. But I'm also going to try to set them to be false because it's going to look for true or false. Another good thing in comparison from my MySQL, where SQLite 3 works better, is you can store true or false and Boolean values, on a SQLite database. But I don't know if you can. Apparently you can't inside of MySQL. Another thing I could try to do is to set to change my settings in the application to stop changing data type to optimize. Maybe there's an optimization thing that's happening that I can turn off, but I don't know DB Forge well enough. I've been using it for 6-7 days. Waffles with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Waffles. Appreciate that. First super chat of the day. Wow, I appreciate money. Nobody wants to put money in an empty cup. So thank you for making that cup not empty today, Waffles. I appreciate that. Big Daddy Waffles for the win. He says, just realize what this stream was. I'm gonna just see my way out and go buy Ethernet cords. Oh shit, man!
Waffles, have fun.
I was just. He's like, I'm gonna pay you money so I don't have to watch you. Oh, it's all right. I'll take the money. Thank you, Waffles. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, get that cable. Get connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Make that new machine work for you. For those of you who don't know, Waffles has been putting together a new PC, and this is the first time he's built his own PC, so he's hitting all those snags, all those hiccups. All right, those are our switches, and I've got them all up here in one spot. Switch. Hold up.
Vino, look on the screen.
A $5.01 super chat from Vino. Thank you, Vino. I was just waiting for Waffles to super chat so I could outdo him by 1 cent. Thank you so much, Vino. Appreciate that. Appreciate the $5, man. And 1 cent. The 1 cent as well. Savage. Don't let a broken arm ruin the what is it called? What they have going on? Camaraderie?
Friendly rivalry.
Friendly rivalry, yeah. I'm disabled, you fucker! I was just saying that. I'm like, don't let a broken arm get between
I did
you
it
guys.
out of love. Oh my gosh, I just figured it out.
You did?
I did.
How did you do it?
I don't know.
Oh, that's great. When you find the answer, but you don't know how you
I
got there.
nested a bunch of plugin commands.
Hell yeah.
Like a Russian nesting doll.
That's what I'm talking about. Not false. Just false. All right. All right, I've set these 20 switches to Booleans, or actually just bools, and then set them to false. All right. Now I'm going to try to apply changes. Apparently, false is an improper value. Son of a beach. Psycho Gaming with the $5.02 super chat. Oh my God, Vino, you've got outdone by a cent. Foiled again. Thank you so much, Psycho. Appreciate that. Psycho says, "You guys are too much. I need to run. Have fun." Oh, everybody's dropping $5 and leaving. Savage. Nobody wants to look at my database stuff. I don't blame you.
Coding is about watching coding is about as entertaining as watching paint dry.
Oh my gosh.
And look at this. Look, this is even worse than coding.
This is worse than coding.
It's interface stuff.
This is learning how to.
It's database
It's database management.
Database management.
I don't know about you, but database management is fun for me. I've always liked this shit. And I can't explain it because I haven't met anybody besides a few people I've seen on the internet who actually likes this sort of stuff. But here's the thing, guys. In order to make the thing we want, we often have to do a ton of shit we don't want to do. And so, like, we have to do all of the dirty work and wear all the hats to get the final result. A lot of the times people say, oh yeah, I want to make an MMO, but they don't realize all the shit you have to do in order to make it happen. It's more than you would expect.
Yeah.
And inevitably it's going to fail because they almost always do. So under that pretense of, this is probably a big waste of my time, but hopefully we'll learn something in the process. Another thing to consider is there's big money in managing SQLite, managing databases for companies. If I ever really, really, really wanted to, it's an avenue, you know, and there's big money in that. But, you know, I would, if it's not an RPG database, I'm going to have no fun really doing it probably. So I'm still going to do what I want to do while I can do that and try to gain skills for backup plans. Data's a big thing right now. Because there's so much machine learning and AI going on, and it's all about that data, baby. Managing and organizing and being able to search and find the data that you're looking for inside a massive ocean of it. So these companies, large corporations, get oceans of data, but the big problem is how do you find what you're looking for when you're looking for it? How do you write that SQLized code to find just the things that you're looking for with these set of parameters? There's money in writing those things. And in order to write those things, you got to do stuff like this and learn how they work, the ins and outs. So, okay, we're going to go back to just making them ints because this is the only thing that I can find to be compatible with the way that SQLized model files require them to be, and also MySQL requires them to be. The only downside is the data is going to be slightly bigger than it has to be. Because you can still read a 0 and a 1 inside of an eval as true or false. So because of the nature of JS, we just remove the third equal sign and we use 2 equal signs in certain functions, and it's the same.
So like now I've told Drifty that he should become a database administrator.
Well, it sounds boring.
It's pretty much what you're doing right now.
I understand it's what I'm doing right now, but there's a difference. I'm doing this because I want to do this, not because I'm really being paid to do this. Obviously, if I wanted to make more money, we'd just do first impressions every fucking day, but I don't want to do that. I wonder if I type I, will it just... Oh, yes! And then can I press down? Oh, yes. Oh, learn the secrets! Learn all the secrets! Oh, I love it. Okay. And then 0 down. Database management, baby! That's what it's all about. All right, save this. Apply the changes. Come on, just... Why would you? Okay, good. It does. I'm like, stop hassling me! Just stop hassling me, database! Now you're all ints. Easy. There you go. You're all ints. You're all defaulting to 0. Why do these var1 say not have to have not? I would rather them not be null. I would say you cannot allow null false. Allow null false. You have to be a number, not null. All of you need to be a number, and by default be 0, just like it is in the game. Just exactly like it is inside the game. I'm trying to match the SQL database to the way that it actually reads JSONs instead of this. But it doesn't matter because we can make it do what we want, essentially. Vino says I'm gonna retire on RPG Maker profits one day in 50 years. Extended long-term plan. Some people can. Most people can't. Thomas, fam, dude, what's up? Thomas, I've used some of your Pathamizer tools like so many years ago, and they've helped me do stuff for mobile. I just want to say, Thomas, fam, I don't see you very often, but thank you for stopping by and saying hi. I'm a fan of yours. I like your software. I think you're really cool, Thomas. He goes, I'm going to tell you as a DB admin, it's boring, but pays my bills. RPG Maker for me is just a hobby. Yeah, there you go. Guys, this guy is awesome. Thomas Pham is a dude who does cool shit. Thomas, are you on the Discord? Are you on our Discord? I would be honored if you'd come to our Discord. Links in the description below. And just show up and say hi one time, and then like I'll be like, yeah. Even Thomas Pham joined us. I'll be like, that's another part of the dream team. It is boring, he says, but it pays his bills. Yeah. All right. Did I apply these changes? I think I did. I must have changed something because yeah, I think I changed something. All right, there we go. Now it's set up to receive 20 switches and 40 variables. So we're just using ints and blobs. That's it right now, ints and blobs, because I'm using Sequelize and they require specific model definitions. And so let's do the arduous task of writing in. For OCD, I want to make sure that it's exactly right. So we got username, user, password, then we switch to the switches. We go to the switches. So we're gonna say switch _1, and then it's the type of data types. Dot int. They're all ints, and then allow null false. Default 0. So what I'm going to do is just copy this like so. Paste this in and change the number. Did I do this right? I'm going to make sure I get this right before I start propagating. It's called allow null properly, right? Unique true. We're not only doing one unique here. Default and then a number and then allow null. It's allow null, right? Not null? Because it says not null, but then in Sequelize, it's allow null false. It's always syntax that'll get you. Watch me propagate all of these allow null false, and it's not that. Let me cross-reference. Let me open a file. First of all, let me look at the SQLite database that I've got. Find something that's not to be not allowed. Okay, so cost inside of craft shops. Let me open this and see the syntax. So let me open a file inside of... That's Cyber Baron. Node mod. Nope, not modules. Models. I always get those confused. Craft shop. And then allow null false. That's our syntax. Allow null false. Okay, so I was right, but it's good to be sure. Allow null false. Now that I'm mostly positive this is properly done, we propagate. That's going to be 3. This is going to be 4. Is there an easier way? What if I leave this blank and copy a blank one first? I'll save myself from making one backspace. 7. Paste. 8. I'm trying to figure out what's the right keystrokes to optimize my movement here. 9. Oh my god, oh my god. 10. Oh, if you go past it once, it's a nightmare. 11. 12. Number pad for the win, because I don't have to look at number pad. 13. 14. I just looked, damn it. I don't need to though. 15. Oh, yep, there's a problem there. 14. I looked down and that's what threw me off. If you keep looking at the code, you won't make a mistake. 16. 17. Nope. 18. I decided to do this in chunks of 20 in case I need to change something like entirely. I'm not changing 100 switches. I'm just changing like a set of 20 of them. Right? And now Shizzles. Shiddle biddles. I want to double check to see if there's any difference inside our switches to variables, because essentially the same type of data, unfortunately. So we got int, not null, default 0. Exactly the same for variables, so I just changed it to say var. So we'll say var, no, not car, and just paste actually. Do var underscore and copy these like this, and then we'll come up here and do 1. Now we're going to do 40 because I'm using more variables than switches. Not a big deal though. I'm going to catch up on chat real quick. Sir Legna says you naturally want to be a system administrator or database administrator then? Probably. Zariev says, I like watching people get frustrated by coding challenges. You are a sadist, Zariev. RPG databases is an IBM thing. The RPG doesn't mean what you think it does. Oh, okay. Does it stand for something different in a different acronym? Database administration work is best when it's not exciting. Can you export the schema? You know, there is a way to do that. And T was talking about that too. And I believe you both, there is a way to do that.
To do what?
Export the schema to give you the format you need for Sequelize.
Yeah.
But I just can't, I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
I'm pretty sure it just makes it for you. If you make
Right,
a table,
right,
it
right.
makes it for you.
Yeah, but like, how do you tell it to export the schema?
What's your tool used again or called again?
DB Forge Studio 2020 for MySQL. Because then it just like spits out the file exactly the way that it's supposed to look for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds great. How do you do that? And so I spent 20 minutes looking for a way to do that. And then I'm like, I don't find it. I don't see it. I know it's got to be in here. But then I'm like, well, I know I could just type it and it wouldn't take that long. And it's only before, usually you don't have this many data points. So it's not that big a deal. You have like 5 data points, so you write it real quick. Plus you look at previous examples and copy paste stuff. So you save time. It really only takes a few minutes. But when you have to add hundreds of variables, I would like an export schema tool that would let you just export the entire table as a Sequelize model, so it knows what to interpret it when you start accessing and storing data. I wanted you to export the schema of the database so I know what the structure is and might be able to help you.
Is there something called structure and data in one of those?
Structure and data? Yeah. I created a new database, and I just called it MZMMO. So it's not using a performance schema. It's not using Sequila. It's not the sys. It's not the world. It's a new one. I made this schema myself. I'm making this schema myself.
Well, there should be an option somewhere that says select or structure and data. Select a connection.
Okay, I've already connected to a database. Right? So here's database. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. What's up, Corey? How you doing, man? How's your day going? Thank you for that $5. He says, "What's up, everybody?" He says, "Sup." Sup, sup, sup. Exports data? It's possible that it's in an export because we're trying to create a file from.
Structure and data. I don't see structure and data though. I don't know. I'd have to look at
Formats,
it.
templates. You can download it for free. It's got a 30-day trial if you want to. The thing about it, though, is you're going to need to also either connect to a MySQL server or run one yourself.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do all that? It takes a little while. and there's a little bit of headache that goes along with it, and there's like a lot of things that you have to remember, and also there's some other hiccups. If you do decide that, I'll let you know another thing you want to do. You're going to want to, when you create your accounts, you'll have a root, a password, and an account, but you don't want to use your root in your scripts. You want to create a different user, and then you're going to run this code on it. Alter user, type in the name of the user that you set up, identified with MySQL native password by blah, 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 and you type the password in here, because what it's going to try to do if you're using this in a node
These
environment.
passwords are uncrackable.
If you, it's not going to be that in the live version. If you do just create it and you try to log in, you'll get to this point and you're like, oh, what?
Schemas tab. Down there.
Can I finish what I'm trying to say real quick?
Sorry.
Because what if someone's trying to do it? You know what I mean? $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you so much, Corey. Appreciate that. He says, "Sup, Vaseline? How you doing, Vaseline?" Vaseline was on Corey's stream with us, and Corey was talking with Vaseline quite a bit. Corey streams Fruit Loops. He makes beats and he works on RPG Maker and stuff. He usually streams like a little bit after we go offline. So check out Corey if you want to do some more game dev stuff with him. Shout out to Corey. Thank you so much for $5, Corey. Appreciate it, man. You can find links to his YouTube channel, Toronto Gaming Gamer, and the self-promo of the Discord. Links in the description below. So say you do want to do all this, and you're trying to log in finally, and you just are unable to log in. You have to change, and you're using Node like I'm doing here, because if you're using RPG Maker MZ, then you're using a Chromium-based Node launcher, blah, blah, blah. And you get to this point, and you're like, I just can't log in. I made the password. I went over here to users and privileges, and I made the user, and blah, 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 and, and it just won't work, because it won't. You have to do this code. You're going to go to run a script inside MySQL, alter user, and you're going to put in the name of that user, type in identified with, and you're going to type in MySQL native password by, and then type in the password in line. And then you don't forget the flush privileges. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to take the SHA-2 something something yada yada encryption that is required for MySQL, and it's going to turn it into using just the native password. So it's going to get rid of the encryption. Yes, you lose some of the security inside the code, but you're actually creating a situation that you can actually link your MySQL database to your Node environment, right? So, I mean, that's such a niche bit of information. But man, if someone would have told me that, saved me a day or several hours at least. Okay. Back to what T was looking for. Did you want to look at anything else here?
Not right now.
Okay.
Not during the stream.
Okay. Because it would save some time, but
Yeah.
you see what we're doing. We're wasting time just looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I could have probably finished writing it by now. So that was the whole spiel with, well, in the end, what's going to take more time? I would love to know how to export the SQLized template so that I can not have to type these out like I'm doing. But at the same time, it's not really that much work. And especially if you're copy pasting,
Oh, you guys got snow in Louisiana?
Another $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that, man. I really do. And thank you so much for the money. He says, we got snow in Louisiana, but no snow in Dallas. So that's interesting. I forgot what I've got copied on the database. Let me copy this, paste this. Actually, if like I said, get rid of this, it'll save me from having to make a extra backspace. Paste, go up, keep my eye on the ball. Oh, shoot. var 3, var 4, var 5, var 6. A little hot in here. I feel like opening a window. But T will freeze. I'm always hotter than she is.
The epic battle of husband and wife and the thermostat. It's a tale as old as time. Well, as old as thermostats, at least.
We're always fighting over that 1 degree, right? I'm like, it should be 74. She's like, 75. And then sometimes we both agree that it should be a little bit cooler or a little bit hotter. And I'll be like, 73, 74.
There are a lot of people that aren't comfortable at even 70, which I don't get. I mean, I feel like I'm in a meat locker at 70.
I mean, I would prefer 73, but I compromise, and she lets me put it on 74. So she's sometimes is cool with that. It's too hot in here, though, especially when you've got all these computers running. We have a lot of computers in the house, you know. I've got the boys hooked up with sick-ass computers, man. They're like, when I was their age, I had a computer, luckily, that was actually, I got a computer when I was like 12 or 13, which is young to get a computer, and I feel blessed that I had that opportunity. But Caleb, the youngest we've got here, is he's had a computer since he was like 7, and so
Yeah.
he's definitely got an advantage in life.
He and his brother saved up until they got $200 and then bought a computer off of Craigslist.
That's pretty cool.
That's how they got their first computer.
Yeah. And then when I moved in, I saw that and I was like, we got to get them hooked up properly.
Yeah, because it was a really bad computer.
It played Minecraft. Look, it had they were using the integrated Intel, or was it AMD? I don't remember. But it had a core. One of the processors on the CPU was used as a GPU. And I'm like, look, we need to get them an actual graphics card. It's going to look 100 times better. And so we upgraded it slightly and we put a video card in. But then I was like, you know, we got our tax return one year and I'm like, you know, let's get them a really good computer. And I built them from scratch using different parts that we had, but and purchasing most of them. And now they've got a new board, an AMD board. It's an AM4 socket with you know, they're rocking 6 cores. They both have 6-core processors, and they both have
decent video cards.
Decent video. One's got a GTX 970. The other one's got a 1080 Ti. Like, both very good video cards, even to this day. For a young kid's game toy machine.
Yeah, I know. And then the older one will go to his friend's house and he's like, can I please bring the laptop? He's got a potato.
Yeah, most kids don't have the benefit of what we've provided for them. We've given them technology and not potato version of it. We've sacrificed a lot of money that we've saved up so that they have a head start in life and are using good machines and are on more of a cutting edge. But I don't regret that. I feel like that's a good idea because in the long run, maybe they'll be able to provide for us when we're too old to do things. We'll see. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you again, Corey. Appreciate that, man. He goes, most of the time, I can't feel the cold. If it's not around 38 degrees, my normal body temperature is 96.3, so I get hot really fast. Wow, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
My first computer was an Atari. I never had the Atari when it came out. I bought the Atari 10 years ago when I was going to like swap meets and garage sales and buying people's old machines. And I eventually flipped it. I kept the Atari, but I sold half the games that I bought for it. I spent like $40 in total on Atari stuff, and then I made like $40, and I still have the Atari and half the games in a military box and at a piece of property that my dad owns in California that I don't even use, and I told him to sell like a long time ago. But I think it's just sitting there collecting dust. But I didn't get the Atari, and when I did get it, I didn't really even use it. I bought it for the novelty, and I was planning on selling it. I ended up buying more shit than I sold, and so it was a net loss because I just accumulated old video games and like cartridges and Super Nintendos and all kinds of 64s and Segas and I had like way too much crap, right? And I was hoarding it at some point. And I'm like, look, I gotta get rid of this. So I started selling it on eBay, but it was a pain in the ass, and like I would package stuff and not send it in time, and I was not a good eBay seller, and so I stopped doing that. And yeah, that was a thing that happened. We've got all 40 of these now, 40 variables, 20 switches inside the player save files, along with some other data. I believe it to be correct. It could be incorrect. We won't know until... You don't always get clear errors, too. Like, when it doesn't work, it just doesn't work, and it doesn't tell you why. And that's very frustrating. But I think it's because of the nature of me copy-pasting it, not having to type it over and over, there's less likelihood that I've messed up. Do they still work? I believe so. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it, man. You dropping them fives on me like making it rain fives over here. Appreciate that. After my stream, I'm going to accumulate some sleep. That's a great idea. Get some sleep, man. Don't drive tired. It's the same as driving drunk. Maybe not exactly, but it's been shown to impair you in a similar way. If you're very tired, driving can be similar to driving under the influence of alcohol. But what if my variables aren't int? Well, they should be, right? Did I miss some other thing here? Is that just out of the blue here? I'm trying to see if Sir Legna saying anything else. 75, I'd be boiling, says Vino. I'm at 68, max 70. Yeah, I prefer 73. That's where I like it. 73 is a comfortable, acceptable medium. Sometimes I'm cold at 72 if I'm not moving around enough. But at night, when I'm trying to sleep, I do like it colder than that. But I just kind of compromise, and I basically just have a very thin sheet, and I sleep with a sheet. I toss the blanket off me every night, pretty much.
I wish we had one of those thermostats that you could set a different temperature at night. It'd be way better. Because I agree, at night it should
We
be a
can
little
do that
cooler.
with a Wi-Fi one, but I don't want to. So there's other reasons why I don't want a Wi-Fi thermostat.
Yeah.
Like the same reason I don't need a smart fridge. I don't need to play Doom or Fortnite on my fridge. All right, I just need it to work for over a decade. I think it's set to 74 right now, Psycho, but I prefer 73. But tea gets cold.
Yeah.
We all make sacrifices for the ones we love. Like being sweaty. Oh, I started this off like, let me show an example, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to create remember we started and I was like, I tried to log in using an account that doesn't exist. And it's like, that doesn't exist. And it took me back to the top. So let's create an account. Let's make an account. And then then that's when I went to the database. I was like, I want to show you that the row, there is no username Driftwood right now. So we've got that set up. If I go to data, we have one. I've only have one here. And the username for that one is Drifty, right? So there's no Driftwood. And we're going to create a new row. Hopefully it works, because I did make some changes right now. But I do need to change the I need to restart the server and the client in order to make these take place properly. So let's close the client. Let me make sure that the code hasn't changed. Everything is Control-Est properly. And then restart our server with a Control-C, up and enter. Nope, I did something wrong. Of course I did. Player save files .switch_1. Unrecognized data type. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Oh my god. Vaslin Ganchev with the 5. What does BGN stand for? Is that, I don't know what BGN stands for, but $5 essentially, maybe? I don't know what 5 is in that. Does anybody know what BGN money is? Whatever it is, it's a super chat and throwing money at me. Thank you so much, Vaslin. Appreciate that. And he or she says, is Vaslin a female? I think female, right? Vaslin?
I don't know.
Vaslin sounds kind of female to me, but I could be completely wrong. In another language,
Vaselin.
Vaselin? I don't know. Vaseline or Vaseline? I don't know. Corey, in your last stream, my wife.
Oh,
that
well, there you go.
doesn't mean male. Doesn't mean male.
But it ups the chances.
It ups the chances statistically that Vaseline is a dude. So I'm gonna say, he says, Corey, in your last stream, my wife almost killed is like 11:40 p.m. and I watch RPG Maker videos while she's trying to sleep. Oh, Vaslin's saying that his wife almost killed him, or her wife, while he was watching RPG Maker videos because it was late and he was trying to sleep. Mm-hmm. So what he's trying to say here, I think, is he was enjoying Corey's stream so much that he was risking his wife murdering him for it. Right? I think that's what he was saying. Oh, my problems. My sweet, sweet, delicious problems. Unrecognized data type for attribute switch 1. Freaking. So that means probably all of these are going to be issuing a problem somewhere along the way. Oh, I think I just have to specifically say integer. Yes, and I've already confirmed that this works. They're interchangeable here. On the Sequelize, they want integer. They demand integer. But if you use the integer inside of MySQL, MySQL, it changes it automatically on its own and changes integer to int. However, it still seems to work if they mismatch. So if I just go here and change these all to integer.
Waffles, I'm not sure
just
about
work.
that. I don't think that's gonna work. He says, can I plug an Ethernet cord from my laptop that has Wi-Fi into my computer
No.
and give it internet? No,
It doesn't work like that.
That's not how it works.
No. Corey Davis with another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Corey Davis. Appreciate that, Corey. He goes, tell her my bad. I work crazy hours so I can only stream when I get off, and tell her that I'm sorry. To you, Vaseline. Corey's apologizing for keeping your interest in the wee hours of the night. It's the only time he could do it. You know, we all have our own schedules, and we work when we can. Like even for us, we work around baby's schedule, and we really only have so long in a day to like be focused on any one thing. And the rest of the day is like we're just like begging for any brief moments of focus on anything. So the fact that we can get anything done at all is a miracle, frankly. If you've ever had a baby, I'm sure you can understand on some level the factor that you're probably going to get nothing done for several years after having a child.
Yeah. Especially the first year. The first 3 months of an infant's life or a child's life are the most torturous, awful things.
Yeah, and it's like
ever.
You don't get any feedback yet because they're just like, they're all like,
they just drool and poop and cry and scream at you.
They're little tyrants. They don't even smile.
Keep you up all night.
Right. They're like little dictators. And they stay dictators, but at least after like 3 or 4 months, they start smiling and laughing and giggling. And you're like, oh, it's okay though. It's fine. It's fine. It just becomes worth it.
And now at this age, they say, I love you, Daddy.
I know. And then you just melt into a little puddle. And it's so worth it.
It is.
It's unexplainable because logically, it's not worth it. But then, like, emotionally, when you go through it, you're like, yeah, it's worth it. Don't get me wrong. Like, children sicken me, and I hate children generally. But, like, once you have a kid, you see things differently. You're like, it changes you. It really does. Having a kid changes you. And you stop being upset at the people that want to show you pictures of their kids, of their snotty-nosed little brats as much. Yeah, you're like, oh, okay, you know, looks like a snotty-nosed brat to me, but I understand where you're coming from on that. Okay, now that I've changed ints to integers, I'm gonna try to restart this over again. Hey, it works. See? Okay. But we still have to, I mean, I've already tested that int and integer will work synonymously, but Sequelize is very specific. And you may be wondering, well, why are you using Sequelize? And because I want to, damn it! And I know Sequelize language a lot better than I know raw SQL. And raw SQL is very verbose. And there will be times when I can't Sequelize things properly and I have to write the raw SQL. So it's important to learn SQL. But besides that, most of the time you're just grabbing one thing here, one there, trying to create a row here, trying to modify a row, checking something, and it's so much easier to just use the operator of Sequelize to handle all that data flow. So I highly recommend Sequelize, but it comes with its drawbacks, as we've seen trying to make a MySQL server match the same data types. Here we are drawing
also,
data.
It has to do with what you learned first. Like Drifty learned Sequelize first, and I learned SQL. And so when I look at Sequelize, it looks confusing to me, and I don't want to touch it. And he looks at SQL, and it's the opposite. So it depends on what you learn first.
Well, yeah. Why are you using SQL, says Zariab? Because I want to. Because I need some way to store data not on the client's game. Because if you store the data on the client's game, then you just increase the likelihood that your online economy becomes a broken, hackable garbage fire, right? And now, am I saying that because I'm doing it with SQL, that's not going to happen? No, and I say that all the time. It's probably going to fail, probably going to get hacked like into a million pieces, and it'll just burn anyway. But if I want any chance of doing it right and learning to try to do it right, I'm going to do it with SQL, because most MMOs do it that way. They use superclusters and they use SQL servers. I mean, that's just what they do. Even World of Warcraft uses SQL. They use MySQL.
Sweet, by the way. Sweet's got a little bundle of joy coming in April.
1 second. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you so much, Corey. Appreciate that. Making it rain with those fives. Love you, dude. He says, I don't know. Kids have never changed me. I don't know. Do you got any kids, Corey? Have you had any of your own kids? That's the thing. Have you had any of your own kids? That's a question.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume like a guy like you probably has, but I don't want to make assumptions really, so I don't know. What were you gonna say, honey? Sorry.
Oh, Sweet was just saying that he's got a little bundle of joy coming in April.
Oh, congratulations, Sweet. Is it your first or your second or your 20th? How many babies we talking here? Zeriup says, I would go with MongoDB because it stores JSON documents. Sounds easier. Not that I idea how much work it would actually. Well, here's the problem, Zeriab. Here's the problem, Doctor. When you have multiple instances of accessing, when you have multiple instances accessing a JSON file, when changes are made, the likelihood of corruption of the file skyrockets. But it doesn't with SQL. So because JSON files will be corrupted if you have multiple instances or multiple connections accessing that data at the same point and writing changes and saving changes, then it gets corrupted. So you need SQL because it handles it in a different way, and JSON is too easily corrupted. That's why. Because when you do it with MongoDB and you use JSON, you have to write it and code it in a very, very synchronized way. It stores JSON, not use JSON. Stores JSON, not use JSON? What does that mean, Sir Legna?
It stores JSON, like the data, from what I'm getting, the way it stores it is on JSON, but it's not written in JSON?
I don't know what he's saying.
Me neither. I'm trying to understand it.
I'm just saying, when you try to write your database using a JSON file, you increase the likelihood of it being corrupted when multiple instances are changing data at the same time. That's everything that I think of in one sentence right there. Vino says the real question was, is it a planned baby or a passion baby? Hey, it loaded, it's running, it's doing things. Let's try to do this thing. Waffle says, man, I haven't used a computer forever. Can't find RPG Maker's site to log in to get MZ. This giving me a headache. Did they change the page? They did make a new store called the Dejica Shop, right?
Yeah.
So maybe drop a link to Dejica's shop for Waffles.
Are you looking, do you still have the email? Did you delete your email? Because if you deleted your email, the only way to get it is to put a support ticket in.
So, Sir Legna, it stores in JSON data types. Okay. Oh, I get it. Right. Okay. But so MongoDB doesn't use JSON to store data. So tell me then, how does it store data? What is it? Where is it storing the data? Like, what's the format? What's the language that MongoDB? Because you might actually just saying, why are you using SQL when you can use this other type of SQL? And then this doesn't make sense. Does MongoDB use SQL? I don't really want to search it. I'll let you do that. I'm going to do this, but...
MongoDB, as far as I know, is like Mozilla's or Google's, I don't know, one of those.
It's very popular, and I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not saying your data will be corrupt if you use it. I hope I'm not being interpreted that way. I'm just saying the question was about using JSON, and I'm like, I don't want to use JSON to store data because the likelihood of corruption is there. And I plan to have multiple connections accessing the database at the same time. Like all good programs, data is stored in the cloud. But the cloud is an imaginary thing. It's really on a server somewhere on a computer inside of a database table, right? It's either a DS map, a DS, what are they called? It's either a map or a, what are the wrappers called for it? Data structure map, data structure. Oh my God. Hold on. DS map, DS, what's the other one? DS maps. There's another data structure thing called, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I did I did use JSON before in GMS2 to save an RPG game. $20 super chat from Corey Davis. Damn, thank you so much, Corey. Appreciate that. He goes, nah, I babysit a lot of kids in my day from 2 months old to like 12. None have ever left an impression on me because they're not your kids, man. I've babysat before I had kids too, and I still think there's not those little brats that I had no real big connection to. It wasn't until I had my own baby and watched the whole thing happen, and that was what changed me. That was what made it different. Why do people always assume that I've had kids? Corey, I don't know why people would assume that you have kids. I hope that it's not. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like I don't know why. I don't freaking know, man. Maybe it's because I think you crush a lot. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for the $20, man. Hell yeah. You're like, enough with these fives. Let me drop a 20. Bam! Appreciate it. Appreciate it so much. You're making the chat revenue skyrocket here. It's good. I love it, man. Thank you. Let me make some more progress. I want to test this to keep going. Can I use TinyInt? Blah 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 blah. No, I can't. Don't need this running. That was to check. That was a viewer for SQLite 3, which is more lenient than my SQL has been. Especially, I guess in that editor, probably allows for some of the situations that could cause problems down the line. But they're just like, it probably won't happen. Let them do it. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, like, I haven't hit that wall yet. I'm gonna keep going until I hit that. There's no going forward. It'll never work like this wall. I hit that with Discord.js. It's too many limitations. Utterly going to piss people off if they get invested and then they send a request to the server and then the server doesn't go through because whatever reason the Discord doesn't work, or I don't know. Also, hosting it is going to be a problem. Also, the giving people a unique token ID is going to have to be, even if I encrypt it, it's still crackable. And if they get it, then they'll have certain privileges. Even though it's the privileges on the bot had been narrowed down to just reading and writing messages, it could be sent. You could send messages as the bot and send. Since Cyberbarian was listening to that bot, it could interpret messages from a bot. There was ways to do it to cause problems for me. Not that it would be like catastrophic problems, but it would ruin the progress and the fun for other people. And I'm like, look, this is not going to work. I have to go all the way back to the beginning and reevaluate how I'm going to handle the connections. And I went with Socket.io and a Node.js and my SQL. And I'm still, I haven't hit the wall, and I'm happy with what I'm doing right now. I think we're still making progress. And I'm not looking for a new database structure right now. But I'm not saying I never will. So don't go find me a new way to write my database when I've got it. And now you need to run the spiral of software security? Not yet. I'm not even there yet. I'm still encoding data to make a save file since I took out. We are miles away from even trying to crack the case here, crack into because it's so easily hackable. So easily hackable. But we'll get there, and I will have an alpha if we can get to that point. I will send it out to certain people like yourself, Sir Legna, and you can help me find security vulnerabilities and then help me close them. And I would very much appreciate that. Now that sounds great. Let's make a new account. We'll call it Driftwood, and we'll put the password 12345. But this time we're gonna make it extra hard because I'm gonna make it 6. and then it takes a few seconds. I purposely make the client wait, and it created the account. It should have. Let's make sure it did. Let me check the server. Do we have any problems on the server? Oh shit. Oh yes, we do. We do have a problem. So here's the thing. Why is it when I do this with SQLite 3, if I emit, if I just do not give a value when saving the file, it will use its default value. It will put in a default value. But with my SQL, it's not, it doesn't do that. It requires me to type it in and say, set this to this, set this to that, set this to that. Why would it do that if I give it a default of 0? I'm literally saying, make the default 0 when I don't give you what it should be. But it doesn't initialize and store the data unless you specifically say, and that's where I'm constantly hitting points where I'm like, SQLite 3 is better. SQLite 3 is better for several reasons, but MySQL is probably better for security in the long run, as well as how fast you can queue the database open and close without causing a hiccup. Hawk Zombie, you're making an MMO game or just a code base? The whole game. I'm running the SQLite server. I'm making the socket server plugin. I'm making the client plugin, and I'm designing the game. I'm doing it all. I'm trying to do the full package here. And $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you so much, Corey. Appreciate that. He goes, at Sate, yeah, first rule, deny everything. Wait, what are we talking about here? Saint Griffin. Yeah, wait, Saint Griffin. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you for the $10 there, Corey, saying it's supposed to be Saint. He says, Saint Griffin, first rule, deny everything. Holy ambitious. No, Zahak, now listen. I say, and every time I talk about this program, it's inevitably going to fail. And I'm going to take it however, I'm going to take it as far as I can until it fails. And this is a project that has failed multiple times on me already. If you've been following along, which I don't know if you have, but I have already started this MZMMO with Discord.js, and I actually got pretty far. I was making a player auction house and a player what do you call it? A bank where you can transfer items between players, and I was storing it in a SQLite 3 SQL server, and it was pretty cool. But I hit some roadblocks and character limits, and how I had to split packets up, and you had a 2,000 character limit on Discord, and then you had delays, and then the data types had to be converted because they would be sent from one bot, and Node. It was launching a bot, I call it Discord MZ bot, on a Discord server, and I'm basically hijacking Discord to be the server, and that caused a problem for several reasons, like I just mentioned. And so I took steps back, and took away all of that stuff and started over again, and now I'm using Socket.io. So I know how to fix this error over here. This is not a problem to fix. It's just I feel like I shouldn't have to, because why does it not say switch 1 cannot be null? Did switch 1? What's the deal here? It just started at switch 2? Oh no, it started at switch 1 and then blah blah blah, then it also gave these errors. Okay, never mind, I shut them all. So I can either write them as allow them to be null, or I can save them whenever I'm going to remove the null. I'm going to remove it from being null, or requiring it that it not be null. I think I'll just do that instead. Let's close the server. When you get disconnected, it'll be like, you've been disconnected from the server. Restart, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Vino says salvage the working systems at the death of the project and use them in a new project. That's what I've done, Vino. Yeah, because I've set up the database and made some art and done some stuff. And we take what we've made that can still be used, and we rip out the rest, and we start it over. And I've done that already multiple times. The last time it made success was with Discord.js. Zariab says you could allow them to be null and create a database trigger that changes the null to the default value. Right. So I'm thinking of doing that actually, Zariab. I was saying that I could just take out the allow null false from the SQLize and change the database. Rainbow Kappa says, happy you're doing a stream on this system. Cool. That's good. I'm glad that you are also interested in this because it's very niche and like it's not a specific tutorial because I haven't mastered this. I'm learning along the way, saying I'm going to fail terribly at some point, but I want to learn along the way and get as much as I can possibly get out of it. And I'm having fun along the way. And that's really important that I still enjoy what I'm doing. Because when you stop enjoying it, then, you know it will fail for sure. You have to enjoy it. Or be being paid very well. Either you have to be getting paid extremely well, or you have to enjoy it. Those are the two things that have to happen. One or the other has to be strong enough to keep your motivation there. And I really, really enjoy doing this. And thanks to a few people like Corey and Waffles and Vino and I mean today we had Vaseline even chiming in and some other people, very good supporters. I do get paid to do stuff like this, and I appreciate it. So thank those guys too. So let's just allow them to be null, and then we'll just change them when we need to change them. Simple as that. And like I said, I could fix that by either two ways. If I'm like, for sure, never allow them to be null, I'll keep that the same. And when I go to set it up and store any data, because what's actually happening and why that's doing a thing is when the game starts, it's running common event 1, and it's running a thing. It's creating the socket, and it checks the database. At one point when it checks the database, if it sees that there's data here and it's not given the values, it will say, we can't write any new data because there's an exception here. There's a problem here. Something is trying to happen that is not allowed to happen based on the rules that you set inside the database. So we're not writing any data because something's not working right. So when you try to log in, I'm passing in these things. I'm emitting a signal, and this is coming from a client plugin that's running alongside Socket.io. I legit had to take Socket.io.js and put that in the plugin manager. And for a long time, yeah, I'm using localhost right now. Another cool thing that we found out yesterday was T was taking over a lot of the art direction for the project, and I zipped up a project for her to load on her machine, and I was like, obviously it's not going to connect yet because I just have it running on my server, but she was connecting to the server on my computer because we're both using the same port. Obviously, it's the same code. So I kept getting weird things on the console saying connection and disconnection and connection. I'm like, what is happening? It feels like something's connecting. But it was because T was running playtest importing tile sets. And her client was connecting to the server from her computer. But it works because it's local host and it's on the same local area network and using the same port. And so I'm like, duh, of course, if I think about it that way. But I didn't expect for it to work like that. So you can have all the computers in the local area network join and test it for the multiplayer functionality. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. Thank you again, Corey. Appreciate that $5, making it rain here. Sir Legnas said he would make me an action RPG system to put in my game. I'm so happy. Thanks, Sir Legna. Now don't let the stream down. And he said it's for free. Bruh. Sir Legna's signing up for all the work. Sir Legna is awesome. He's on a lot of streams. He's supportive to a lot of YouTubers, a lot of streamers, and he's on the Discord, and he's helping people in the RPG Maker chat. And Sir Legna is an awesome guy. We love you, Sir Legna. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. You really do help a lot of people, and we love you for it. Waffles dropping a couple bucks. He just wanted to say, I hate you, Vino. Play me in Uno next time. He's going to drop the reverse card with $2.01 next. Uno reverse. Yeah, so the game, the RPG Maker MZ client, runs the Runs the MZMMO client plugin. That's the word I'm looking for. Plugin. And it also runs Socket.io in order to connect. It's just, I've got a mess of them running here. Look at this. It's like, I don't need 2 of these up. And this is for Discord integration. And this was a Serlinga mod when we were trying to figure out how to do this with HTTP. We ended up scrapping that and getting rid of the chat because it just doesn't, we couldn't really fully make it work, right? Yeah, so I didn't need all those in there. In the final version, it won't have all of these plugins. A lot of these plugins are going to be taken out, and I'm going to encrypt the project, and I'm going to Enigma box it. Now, is that going to stop people from hacking into it? No, but it will slow them down and stop a lot of wannabe hackers from getting into it. Impossible! Rainbow Kappa said, I heard something about Discord integration in place of MySQL. Can you elaborate? Well, the Discord integration plugin that I started writing still used SQL, but it didn't use MySQL. It used SQLite 3, which is a much easier, simpler version of MySQL. And it's more lenient, and it's easier to do. And it plays with SQLize a little bit better even. But it's also slower. And you're going to have problems if you have a lot of users. Like right now, with the system that I've set up, because I'm not closing the connection, I can have 150 clients connected. That's my cap right now. Now, over 100, if a lot of activity is happening, I could start to see slowdowns and problems on this server setup. Not accounting for just lag, which will happen on any MMO, but I can account for from 100 to 150 without any issues. But if I were to get over that many users, I would have to change some shit. I'd have to rewrite some code. It would not a big change, but I would have to change the way that the Socket.io server connects to the MySQL server. Here's the thing. I don't predict having 100 people playing this game. I think if people are still interested in it by the time it's done, which if it even ever finishes, inevitably it's probably going to fail and not get to that point. But if it does, it'll become something like Cyberbaron, which, to be fair, I thought Cyberbaron was going to fail too. And he's been running strong, doing all kinds of stuff inside of our server for a while. So if it gets to that point, we'll probably have a dozen people playing it at any one time. And I would be really stoked about that. That would be really cool.
It would be cool.
Yeah, just a dozen people or 20 people playing. And the setup that I have would accommodate for that. And it would run fine and it would work and data would be stored and it would, as long as I can find all the ways that it could be hacked and close those holes, should be fine. Essentially, the setup that I have with the SQL server, the MySQL, and Socket.io is the same way that so many other like big name MMOs do it. World of Warcraft uses super clusters of MySQL servers. That's what they do. They use it the same. They do the same shit. I don't think they use SQLize. They do other things to. They probably have some proprietary stuff in their whole databasing thing. Waffle said, "T so quiet today. Forgot she was still there. Why you so quiet, T?"
Hi, Waffles.
She gets bored with these dev streams, to be fair. It's just me talking about, could be boring stuff. And also, she does work. She works for Dejica, and she's always
I'm mad at my code right now.
She's writing a followers plugin.
I was right. I had it working at the beginning. I was like, Eureka! And then I don't know how I broke it, but I broke it, which is the most frustrating thing because it's not working, but I don't know what I did to break it. Because I'm really good at making backups when I change stuff.
Okay, so I've resorted to, let's just take out the
Hi, Flash.
not allow null and change the database as well. Anytime we say allow null false, we have to give it data whenever we access it. So right here on username, allow no false, and password, allow no false.
Yeah, Drifty wasn't supposed to tell people, but he did anyways.
What?
I didn't tell anybody what plugin I was working on.
I am the worst.
I was specifically not telling people. Here's the thing. This is why I'm not saying it. I didn't want to say it. Is because I'm not sure if I'm up to the task. So I'm not sure if I can even complete it. So I didn't want to say
Everyone
anything.
forget what I said. Let's pretend that I never said that.
But I am trying real hard. I mean, it looks like it works. It looks like it works, but there's so many things wrong with it. There's no way it's viable at this point. But all my followers, they don't turn into events. They run around the map and do what you want them to do all by themselves. And then the idea is when it's over, you walk away and they like gather and follow you again. And I had it working at the beginning of the stream, but now they're just sitting there like lumps on logs again. And I don't know why.
Well, now the cat's out of the bag, T. Talk about some more about it. So now you have a platform to release some of the frustrations that have been pent up.
I don't know. I mean, it looks pretty. There's that.
Yeah.
Pretty looking.
There you go.
But it's not actually functional. Another issue that I'm having is that like I don't know how to make it so you can do you could do the move route. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. The move route. You can do like the expression bubble or exclamation mark, the little heart above the head. And there was one other thing. What can you do? Oh, you could play an animation on the follower. But you can only do one of each of those. Like you could do all three. You could do a move route, you could put a balloon over their head and play an animation, but then if you try and put another move route under that, it doesn't work. It'll just do the last move route. So I don't know how to get it to do like any combination of those things yet. It's still very simple and rudimentary, but it looks pretty.
Sometimes you have to make a spaghetti monster that looks incredibly wrong and disgusting to make it work.
Yeah, I keep trying to like add things in and rearrange things and change it a little bit piece by piece, but then I break it like I did. So now I'm back to an issue that I thought I was past.
Hey, guess what? I'm still writing a dang model file. So
It's always the model files.
It's always the model files. It's, you know, 2 steps forwards and a step back. We've got to expect that throughout the whole process. You're going to have to redo work. That's the nature of this beast. Coding is hard. Coding is hard, and it's constant.
Well, Waffles, I kind of did tell you could just put a support ticket in and I'll get you your key.
Yeah.
As soon as I have your email address that you used, in fact, you could just DM it to me. Whatever email address that you used to buy MZ, I can get you your key.
You should put a support ticket in officially, though,
Yeah,
because
you
she
should.
handles that stuff officially, and, you know,
Yeah.
go through the whole system. Don't sidestep that.
That's why I told you to do it, because I could totally help you if you can't find your email.
You're going to have to go through the right routes for that.
And the support key.
Go to the RPG Maker Web thing and put in a support ticket properly. And, you know, she sees all that stuff. She's the main one handling all that, and she can deal with it. But if you do it that way, you give her the ability to access the tools and use the tools at her disposal for that.
So Ziriab says, gotta queue them up, then play them sequentially. That sounds fabulous. How do I do that? Or modify their move routes on the fly. One thing I learned when I did the other plugin, what was that, the events one, is that putting move routes in plugins is really, really hard. You'd think it would be as simple like, oh, tell it to move this direction or that direction, but it's not.
All right, let's try to run it again. Let's see what happens.
Having actual map events following you around means that the dev can use their normal event commands on them. You know, Ziriab, what I really wanted to do, and I tried to do it first, but I just could not figure out how to do it, was I wanted to switch who the main actor was based on like a plugin command, but not switch their position. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure that out, because I figured if you could make the follower that you're currently controlling the main actor, then you could do absolutely anything you would with the main actor, but with the follower, the problem is it always switches to the front of the party, and I can't get it to stop doing that. I could switch the actor, but I can't keep it where it is.
All right, it's trying to create a new account. Driftwood, password 1056, and new account event was triggered, says the server, passing in these parameters. And apparently the game said it was okay. No console errors on either the server or the client. Let's go to the database and see if it actually connected and stored data properly to the server. Yep, it sure did. There it is. A new row appeared. The save seed 5841, and this is client save seed 5841. This session ID. The session ID will change, so the session ID storing that won't really matter. And the client random seed is not actually used like 100% since I started doing account and password. So these two numbers are less relevant than they were in the Discord version because I would tie that to your Discord username and Discord number. But now I'm requiring like an account creation process thing to happen, and that seems to be working fine. I can show you I can show you the data more, and it's storing all this data. And even though these are set to 0, they were not allowed to say not null, because unless I'm learning though. Now I know when you try to store data into a MySQL server, if you're going to have the box checked that says not null, you would have to SQLize your model to say allow null false. And whenever you access that data row or create or change, you have to apply the change to that. Maybe not if you've done it once. At least when you're creating the row, you have to assign it a value. So the default 0 still kicks in and gives it the value of 0, but you can't allow it to not be null, which means you have to allow it to be null, but it defaults to 0.
Would it be a problem if it were null? Would it like break it?
Not really. I don't think so. You know, I can maybe. If you're expecting a variable to be a number and it's null, the whole equation is wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
or you could say number or if null.
Yeah, I can include a handler that says if null return console.error, something like that. But anyway, we did it. We created an account. It's working. We added new data. We stored those switches and variables, but we haven't actually, we've only defaulted them. We haven't wrote the encoder or the decoder. We have to write the encoder on the client, and it takes all the data and packs it up. And I still have to do more than just variables and switches. There's a lot of information when you initialize a new character that needs to be stored, like game stuff, game data, etc. I have to compile everything that I need to have, because there's no loading. There's no saving, no loading. Basically, every time you connect, it's like you're starting a new game, and the server is changing values in that new game to load where you left off. But at that point, you create a new character by picking your style. All these styles are terrible. I made them in the auto generator very quickly. You pick a class and you get a sub job. We've got lots of plugins to make the game actually fun. $5 super chat from Corey Davis. He's saying, "Say Drift, I got a question. Will you answer it?" Well, that itself is a question, and yes, I just answered it. But if you have another question, I may answer it. I can't promise you the answer you want, right?
Zariab says Kangao uses my script a bunch in his games because he can move them around, do speech bubbles and such in cutscenes because the followers are actual events. I actually use a follower plugin in MV, or used one, that made them events too, and I noticed there was one major issue with that, and that is if you're using region restrictions, your followers are treated like events, and if your events are restricted from a certain region, your followers can't pass over it, so that causes an issue with that. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do it without turning them into events, but also provide all that functionality at the same time.
She's doing some stuff that I don't understand.
I don't know. I'm not confident that I can actually deliver on it, which is why I had why I was tight-lipped about it. And I don't even want to show it to people until I have something actionable, like some kind of working model.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has tried things that failed, and then we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And put that out to say. So it's
That's where
fine.
I'm starting this one. We don't need to talk about that.
I'm just saying, I'm sure in this chat room, there's some solidarity behind people starting a project and then failing to release the project or failing to even follow through and talk about it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to feel alone on that. A lot of people have started a thing and not finished it. And you have finished plugins. You've made really cool plugins so far. In fact, shout out to T's Plugins. There's an itch page where she's got her plugins and she's giving them out for free. What kind of plugins have you made? You've already made a couple that for MZ.
Yeah, I made a really simple one that just gives you easy step counters. So if you want to have a step counter, it's just a matter of assigning a variable. I know you can do that through eventing, but this just makes it easy. And then the other one is like some event stuff. Two of them were just, I don't know, I wanted to learn how to make MZ plugins in general. So somebody gave me the idea of trying to make one where you can't get cornered by an event. So I made that, and then I'm like, well, maybe cool. I can do some more things.
You can dash through events, so when the cat blocks you against the tree and the wall,
you
can just dash through the cat. That's great.
Yeah, but then also I added sound proximity, which is the one that I was actually proud of because it's really kind of cool. You can have a background sound playing on your map, but then you could also have any number of events on the map that play a sound depending on a range that you specify. And it doesn't erase the background sound that's already playing. It just plays over it. And then when you leave the parameter or the specified area of the sound, it stops. And the background sound that was originally playing is still playing. So it's kind of cool. And I can't remember what the other one was. What else did I do?
Some other cool stuff.
There was another one in there. Oh yeah, event touch event, which is prone to fail under certain circumstances, so use it with caution.
It has a niche case where you can
it
actually
will work for some things.
You just have to figure out, do you need this here, and if not, don't put it there, and if you do need that there, then sometimes it don't work.
My first iteration when I put out actually failed catastrophically because the event that was supposed to trigger another event would also trigger all other events. So if it ran into like a door, you would transfer all of a sudden. But I got that to stop doing that.
Waffle says, shit, I started on Driftwood's game, made a whole part 2, then found out he started working on it again. I know how you feel, T. So Waffles actually made a game based on Legend of Driftwood when I was I released it and I was like not done and happy with it, but I was like, I got other stuff I want to do, and I kind of put it out haphazardly. And then Waffles was like, yo, I kind of want to work on this and use it as a base. I'm like, go for it, man. And I gave him the actual dev folder, the project file, let him download it off the Driftwood Gaming website. $10 R? What is R? Rupees? Something? Rick Trick dropping money.
Thank you, Rick Trick.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate that. Very, very generous of you. I don't know what that equates to in USD, but it doesn't matter. I see you're showing the love. Thank you right back, Rick Trick. Thanks for that super sticker. Yeah, and Waffles made a whole bunch of extra stuff, and I was like, bro, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were still working on it. and I just because I re-released the project. I put 3 or 4 more months of work into it, and this was when version 1.62 of MZ came out. I'm like, I need to do one last hurrah, put the game in the spot where it needs to be, and then that's the one you can download for free. Links in the description below if you want to play the I guess the most complete RPG that I've ever released, Legend of Driftwood, and it's there. You can play it. About equal drifty, yellow color is about $10. Right, color coded. Yes, that tells me that it's about the same.
Waffles should release his version, and then there could be 2 versions of Driftwood, Legends of Driftwoods. Legends of, damn it, what is it called? Legends of Driftwood?
But if there's 2 of them.
Yeah, it would be Legends of Driftwoods.
That's grammatically correct there.
Yes.
Thank you, Rick.
Why was that so hard to say?
I mean, Corey, you said if you ask me a question, will I answer it? You didn't ask me that question, though. I said, yeah, but I may not have the right answer or be able to answer it, or you may not like the answer I give you, but I will do my best. Don't I always?
Legend of Drift Waffles, yes.
Legend of Drift Waffles.
That's what it would have to be called.
Yeah, rename it, though. Legend of Drift Waffles.
Yeah, so people didn't get it confused with the other one.
Vino says, maybe I'm wrong. Google has told me I'm wrong. Oh, well.
What are you going to do?
It's a thought that counts here. Zariab was saying something I wanted to respond to. Can Gal uses my script a bunch in his games because he can move them around, do speech bubbles and such in cutscenes because the followers are also actual events. But in T's version, the followers are not events.
No, they're
the
still
followers
followers.
are just followers.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a.
It was really hard to do because I had to at one point the move route takes the player object and it doesn't like take a piece of the player object. I don't know how the heck it does it, to be honest, but I had to make the follower object work in the same way as the player object, and it was very, very difficult. It took me like 3 days.
But it was really cool when it caught me off guard. T was doing stuff. I didn't realize really what she was doing. And she's like, check this out for a second. And I watched her walk around. She took her hand. So she loaded a game in MZ. She walked the guy. She has 3 followers. And she walked to default read across the screen, took her hand off of the keyboard. And then I'm like, what? And then I saw all 3 of the followers move around in different directions and animations played. But I saw the play test and I'm like, there's no events here. So it caught me off guard. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? So yeah, there's some cool stuff happening over there. If she could just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
It looks pretty.
I wanted to stop. The reason why I haven't done anything for a few minutes here, because I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. It was good, but I wanted to stop and take note of what had happened here. I got a console error that was because bot channel was for the Discord JS version. Remember, I took this project from the old version of Discord integration, took that out, but I still have a lot of events in the game that are from the last version of the MZ MMO, like bot channel, trying to send to a signal from one bot to another bot. But anyway, so a console errored. It said bot channel is not a function, and then it paused because I told it to pause whenever I have an error on the sources. And if you're not using this and you're making plugins, you need to check this out. This is really good. Using your sources, pausing when you have errors is really, really helpful to find and track down where the problem's coming from. Shout out to Zariab for really I knew about this, but I never really used it.
I didn't know how to use it until he walked me through it.
Zariab was walking T through, and I was kind of just like learning from the shadows. And I'm like, yo, that's really good. I'm gonna do more of that. And so now I use that all the time, and I find it extremely helpful. Anyway, what is happening is it got a little error, and because of Visustella's plugin, it stops the game from crashing, and it just instead pops an error up. But the game paused, and that caused the socket IO to disconnect. So I got a message in game saying you've been disconnected from the server, session ID undefined, it disconnected, right? But it's also listening for the server is listening for it, and because it emitted another signal that, hey, I'm still online, can I connect? After I said stop the pause from the source, the server reconnected to the client.
Nice.
So you may not have to leave. I don't think you actually have to exit the game if the server if the server's up but the client encounters an issue. If the issue isn't game breaking, then the client will reconnect with the server.
That's cool.
The number will change, your session ID will change, but everything else would stay the same because the connection closed and it creates a new connection as a 20-character socket IO thing. But yeah, that happens.
Nice.
I just wanted to show that for a second. And the game is currently paused, so let me unpause the game. Like right here, you've been disconnected from the server. Please restart, and the client will be saved. But if you check it out, it's actually reconnecting. If I pause the game, it will disconnect me. But then when I repause, it'll reconnect. So yeah.
That's cool. I was freaking Drifty out the other day too because I opened up his project to do art on my computer and it connected, and he's like, why is it connecting twice?
I thought it was something I was doing. I did not realize that because I'm on localhost. I thought, it's the same as just me connecting to my computer. No other computers are going to connect to this server. Nope. Any computers connected to this local area network will connect to local hosts on this server if they're using the same port. And because it was a carbon copy at the time, she was able to connect, and we had both clients running off of the server at the same time. So it was saying client connected, and then when she would close it, client disconnected. And I'm like, why is it doing that? That was funny. But yeah, I mean, at some point, I'm not happy with this. The game hasn't. I haven't really done too much designing the game yet because I'm still trying to set up the connectivity. But I'm getting to that point. I'm as soon as I'm able to do the save load functions, encoding, decoding, I'm going to get more into the game design of it. But the netcode is taking a long time. And the reason why I'm using an SQL instead of saving it locally is because it'll be easier to create an actual online economy. I think in the end, even though it's harder, it will become more secure, and we'll be able to actually have an economy that takes longer in between a hacker ruining it. You see how I said that? It's not going to be secure. It's going to be longer before someone ruins it.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess we've had a good live stream. We can call it. We've been going for a couple hours now. 90% of the stream, if you not talking about me or to me, I have no idea what's going on. Vino's fault. Google told me my broken arm means I'm pregnant. Don't believe Google all the time, Vino. Psycho says that reaction must be worth your time, T. And I wish I had that in the context of
when you saw everybody moving on the screen.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm going to do a little recording and put it in default so you guys can see what it looks like.
There you go. She's going to show you what she's got. It's not working right at this moment. Not saying she will, right? You're not promising anything here.
Definitely not.
But, everyone has started a project and had it not been released. It's the same thing as starting a plugin and not releasing it. I'm sorry I spilled the beans, but that's freaking cool. There's the only event that's happening is it's not controlling for movement. Did you show the event in the video too?
No.
You should, because you can make multiple events.
Oh, I just closed.
Like show the actual event, and then play test, because that's what that would be like. That's kind of interesting right there. That's a whole nother thing. Anyway. I think that's good for today's live stream. We'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We love you very much. Like the video if you like it. Good luck in development. Thank you, Rick Trick. Appreciate it. I'll be doing more dev streams, keeping you guys up to date. And if you want to stay up to date on a more regular basis, follow us on don't follow us. Join us on Discord. Follow us on Twitter. I keep saying follow. Follow us on Twitter. Appreciate that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like this video. You know all the stuff. Yeah, we have a Patreon. There's stuff there. I'm going to end the stream now.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Zariab. Thank you, Rick Trick, Vino, Waffle, Psycho Gaming.
All right, I'm throwing this video on default.
Blah, throw it up on default. Vaslin Gonchev, come join us on Discord. Links in the description below. Thank you, Skepsis D, Flash 15X, Rainbow Kappa, Waffles, Corey Davis. Thank you so much, Corey. Appreciate it, man. St. Griffin. Hawk Zombie. Sir Legna. Sweet. Of course, Vino. Thank you, Vino. Shepherd Games. Shepard asks, I'm sorry I missed your question earlier, Shepard. He says, I know this isn't the place to ask, but does anyone have a demo for Irina's visual novel Busts? So, I don't know. Sorry. You can ask on the Discord. Anybody who I missed? Vero Cly, see you there. Vaslin Gonchev, thank you so much.
Waffle says, slips Drifty's butt. Good hustle.
Good hustle.
Slaps, not slips.
C-Stripe 91, I see you there. Thank you so much. I'm scrolling for names. I want to say people's names before we go. Thomas Pham showed up. He just showed up to say, yeah, I'm a database admin. It is boring, but it pays my bills. I do RPG Maker for fun. It's a hobby. Skepsis D was here earlier. He's probably still here. Thank you, Skeps. And that's about it. All right. See you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Take care, KV. Bye-bye. Poga Latte. I see Poga Latte. Bye, Poga. I literally was about to click end. Bye, Poga.